All right, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorials, I said tutorials because there's going to be a few. We are making the Sunbonnet Sue and the Overall Sam little wall hangings. I love these. They are so stinking cute. So how I came out with these was I found these two at an antique store, and I sat and picked apart all these stitches, figured out how it was she made these, sat down, and let me show you this. Wrote all of this out. This is just one part, and like I have 3 more pages of that, and recreated it on camera for you guys. So I hope you enjoy these. I love these. I'm going to hang them in my kitchen, I think. Just these two, just like this. Now throughout these, these 4 parts, there's 2 parts for her, 2 parts for her. Part 1 for her, him, I'm sorry. Part 1 for her, we make the bonnet and then the little hanger. And then part 2, we make the dress, arm, and everything else. And then part 1 for him, we make the hat, his head. I'm not sure. I have to look at my notes. Yeah, I think we might stop on a shirt. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But anyway, so there's 2 parts for her, 2 parts for him. I'm going to have the links in the description, and each part will have all the links in the description box. So definitely check those out. Let's see. What else? So for part 1 of Sunbonnet Sue, I actually make a little bit of an error, but I walk you completely through fixing it. So don't worry about it. Don't get upset about it. We fix it right here on camera, okay? Yeah, so let's just go ahead. Well, let me show you the other ones I've made too. I made these and these. Oh, I am so happy with how these turned out. I got a whole stack of them. But let's just go ahead and get right into what you're going to need. So, let me actually bring them back. So first you're going to need a flesh tone. Now for mine, I used Red Heart Super Saver in Erin. That's kind of my go-to for a flesh color, but you can use any color you want to. Having said that, I also want to mention real quick that I used 4-weight on all these. You can use 3-weight. They'll be a little bit smaller, but that's no big deal. So she measures at, I'm not going to measure the hanger, but from the peak of her little bonnet to her feet is like 10.5 inches. And then him from the top of his hat is like 10.25. So he's like 1/4 of an inch shorter than she is, but that's all right. So if you use a 3-weight, I mean, they'll be just slightly smaller and still be cute. Okay, so there's that, and then, so the flesh tone. Okay, so the other color, I went with the shirt, and then the red to match her dress, and then blue for his overalls, and then I used the blue for, you know, the sleeve of her dress and the little ruffles. So the blue is, again, Red Heart Super Saver, Delft blue, and then the red is Super Saver. I think this is just cherry. Yeah, cherry red. And then for the hat color, I think I could have went just a touch darker. I think they're all right, but I could have gone a tad bit darker, but it's not a huge deal. I was thinking like straw hat, but once I got them made, I was kind of like, I could have went a little darker. But I used Craft Smart in the color taupe for that. And then for the shoes, so for these little boots, right, I did not have a brown in a 4-weight this dark, so I ended up having to grab my Premier anti-peeling 3-weight. I use the exact same hook, same pattern, but if you use a 4-weight, just keep in mind it is going to be a tad bit bigger than mine, only because I didn't have a 4-weight. So use a 3-weight if you want, use a 4-weight if you want. Maybe try a 4-weight, see how it comes out. Maybe with your tension, it'll come out better than what it would, you know, normally. Trying to clean up my little area here. So that you're going to need that. Now with the color choices, you can see with these, I end up going, you know, trying the variegated with the solid that matched, just like the ones I found at the antique store. And I like them. I would have to say I probably like the solid colors better. But you guys can use whatever colors you want. Use your variegated with a matching solid. You just, you know, do like I did with the just solid colors. Okay, so get your yarn, and then I used a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. I mean, obviously you can use a 4 if you want to. A 1/4 of a millimeter is not going to make a huge difference. If you do go with a 3-weight, I would suggest going down, and I mean 3-weight as in for the whole pattern. I would suggest going down to maybe like a 3.5. A 3.5 or staying at a 3.75 millimeter. Yeah, depending on your tension. If you're tight, I would stay at a 3.75, but if you're real loose, I would go down. Yeah, I definitely go down. But anyway, scissors. Obviously, you're going to need a needle to weave in your end. We do use a few stitch markers. 2 is the minimum. You're going to need more than... You're going to need 2 at the minimum, but maybe, you know, depending on your ability, you may need a few more, and not a huge deal. And then I used a tad bit of fabric tack. Not necessary, but I did use it just to go inside of these little hands to keep them like that nice cupped shape. And then on him, I actually did glue his hands to his hips right here. Everything else, like up here, I sewed on, and then this is sewed on. It's just, he's glued here, and she's glued to keep the cup in her hand. Other than that, that is everything you're going to need. So, I'm trying to double check. Is there anything else I need to say? I'm pretty sure that's it. So get your guys' supplies together, and like I said, don't forget to keep to look down in that description box. The links for all the other video parts will be in there. And that's it. Let's get started. I am so excited to get started on this and get this done. All right, I've been yapping enough. Let's go. Okay, so to get started, go ahead and get your hook, and we want to start with the color that you want your bonnet to be. So like on this one I had the blue, and then I don't see my other one, but anyway, I'm gonna go with this tan color. What is it called? It is taupe. Anyway, so get your bonnet color and go ahead and get a slip knot on your hook. Again, make sure plenty of tail, and chain 28. So if you want to pause your video, get your chain done, and then come back here. We are going to start, I forgot to get my stitch markers. We are going to start with slip stitching into the second chain from our hook. So right there. And then I'm going to stop and mark that slip stitch. You don't have to. If you're good with stitch identification, then I wouldn't worry about it, but I want to just to help you and myself. All right, we're going to single crochet into the next chain. Half double crochet into the next chain. Double crochet into the next 3 chains. we're going to work 2 double into the next chain. All right, now we're going to double into the next 6 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now into the next chain, we're going to work a double, chain 1, and a double. Double, chain 1, go right back in there, double. Okay? Then I got a churchy hair. He's setting, see if I can get his paw on camera. No, I can't. He's too far away. He's like right there. You'll probably hear him start snoring in a minute. Well, for Pete's sake, come on. There we go. Okay. All right, now we're going to double into the next 6 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, now we're going to work 2 double into the next chain. Double into the next 3 chains. Half double into the next chain. Single into the next. And into that very last chain, we're going to work a slip stitch. Just like that. And this is what your piece should look like. So eventually what this is going to turn into, let me get my other one. So what this is the brim of the bonnet. So we're right here. And then we're going to work it out like this. And you can see we carry that double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the same stitch. We carry that up, and that's what creates that point on the bonnet, on the brim of the bonnet. So this is our work, and we're going to work it back, not what we just did, but I mean we're going to work back and forth, and then into that chain 1 we'll keep working the double, chain 1, double, and then once we're done we fold it in half, attach, and then work back this way for the head, you know, where your head would be, or the, I don't know how you would explain this, but this part of the bonnet. So this is where we are right now. We're going to work it this way and then come back on this way, okay? All right, so that is row 1. Let me get some slack. All right, so I'm going to pause because I need to grab a pencil to keep up with all my scratch notes right here. To be able to mark it out as I go, because I don't want to get lost. So I'm going to grab a pencil and I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm ready. So I'm going to get back on my hook, or that loop back on my hook. All right, so to move on to row 2, we are not going to chain 1. Okay, we're just going to pull up that loop a little bit and turn our work. Just like that. And then what we're going to dip, I about said what we're going to dip. what we're going to do is skip that slip stitch we just worked right there. So if you want to, go ahead and mark that. If you need, you know, to help keep track of where you are, mark that slip stitch right there. I'm not going to close it because I'm getting ready to take it back out anyway. But I'm going to pull that loop up just a tad, rotate, skip the stitch that that marker's in, and right into that next one, we're going to work a slip stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and just insert my hook and then get that stitch marker out of the way. And then slip stitch. Just like that. And then stop and mark that slip stitch. Okay, there we go. All right, so to move on, we are going to single crochet into the next stitch. And I am sorry about all the dang hair. I don't know where it's coming from. I mean, it's coming out of the skein from, I don't know. Anyway. All right, single, all right, half double crochet into the next. All right, now we're going to double crochet into the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 double into the next. And now we're going to double into the next 5. There's 4, and right there is the 5th. So the very next is the double, chain 1, double into that chain 1 space. Lost that. Just like that. And now we are going to double into the next 5 stitches. While I'm doing that, I want to tell you guys, every time that I'm doing a tutorial and we have, you know, a spot like what we're working on right now, work a double into the next 5, I always wonder to myself, is someone racing me? I always think, I wonder if someone's like, hurry up and get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which I think is funny because I do the same thing. If I'm watching a tutorial and I'm making myself something and they're like double crochet into the next, and I'm just going to use this as an example, double crochet into the next 5 stitches, I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, without having to pause my video and then just sit and wait for them, and then they say what to do. I always wonder if somebody ever does that. So I wonder if you raced me. That was 4. One more is 5. How about, let me mark off what we're doing. Okay, so the next one is 2 double crochet into the next double. Okay, so next is a double into the next 5. So how about this? How about if you do race me, let's see who can get it done first. If not, I will wait for you guys, but I want to know. All right, so we're going to double into the next 5. Ready, go. Oh, I already messed it up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, done. You probably beat me. I messed up that 1 double. That's all right. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Okay, so we're gonna half double crochet into the next. Okay, single crochet into the next. And then we are going to I'm getting lost in my scribble. Slip stitch into the very last one, not into the one with the stitch marker. Or I'm sorry, skip the next and we're going to slip stitch into the one with the stitch marker. So take that out, get in there, and we're going to slip stitch like that. And just like, so that's the end of row 2. So let me repeat that again since I messed that up. Skip the next, slip stitch into the last. Okay, all right, that's the end of row 2, and we are going to pull up just a little bit and mark that stitch, that slip stitch if you need to. Let me turn the page in my notepad. Okay, so pull it up just a bit, turn our work. We're going to skip that very first one and then slip stitch into the next. Pull up a loop and then I'm going to mark it. Okay. All right, so we already just started row 3, so to keep going, we are going to single crochet into the very next stitch. Single, half double crochet into the next, two double crochet into the next, and double crochet into the next 5. I need to pause for just a second. I feel a sneeze coming. Sorry about that. All right, double into the next 5. I didn't do mine yet, so don't do another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to work 2 double into the next. Double into the next 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you should be to your chain 1. Okay, so into the chain 1, work your double, chain 1, double. Sorry about that, that just made me giggle. Okay, so we're going to double into the next 5. Two, 3, 4, 5. You guys can see his ear. All right, now we're going to work 2 double into the next. Double into the next 5. Three, 4, 5. Okay, 2 double into the next. half double into the next, single into the next. We're going to skip the very next stitch, and into the one that we have marked, we're going to work a slip stitch. Just like that. Okay, so pull up a loop a bit. We're going to go ahead and go on to row 4. Rotate. I'm just pinching the one we're going to skip and slip stitch into the next. So just like that. And I'm going to stop, mark that. Well, what in the... There it went. Alright, mark that slip stitch, and we move on to row 4. So row 4, we're going to single crochet into the next, half double into the next, and into the next we're going to work 3 double crochet. All right, now double crochet into the next 4. There's the 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 double crochet into the next. And now double crochet into the next 3. Two double into the next. Dang it. All right. Let's see. So we did 2, 1, 2, 3. 2 double. Okay, so now we are going to double into the next 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we should be at the chain 1. So into the chain 1 we work the double, chain 1, double. Okay, now we're going to double into the next 4. Two double into the next. Double into the next 3. Two double into the next. double into the next 4. Three double crochet into the next. Half double into the next. Oops, get in there. Single into the next. Now we're going to skip the very next and then slip stitch into the slip stitch that we have marked right here. So skip, slip stitch. Just like that. All right, so that is the end of round 4. And now what we're going to do is fold our bonnet brim like this, and then we're going to slip stitch to this back side, okay? Because this is the beginning chain, right? So what we want to do, let me get that stitch marker out of the way. Okay, sorry for the weird cut. I just wanted to make sure that my scribble makes sense. All right, so what we are going to do is we are going to slip stitch down this side a few times until we get to the first chain on the corner. Now this doesn't have to be perfect. We can fix it in just a minute if it's not, but if you just kind of oop, I didn't mean to do that. Pull down a little bit on it, you can see where your stitches go into your beginning chain right here, and then where that corner sits. So what we're going to do, slip stitch into, just get your hook wherever you can get it in there. I'm just going to go right in here, slip stitch. I'm going to go, this is like the turning chain part. Oops, oops, oops. There we go. Slip stitch in there, and then I'm going to go right into this corner. It's going to slip stitch right there. And like I said, if it's not perfect, do not worry about it. We can get it fixed. So basically you want to see that your last slip stitch on a corner just like that. And now we're going to bring our other edge over. Now this edge is easier to see because our tail is coming from that first chain, right? So what we're going to do is bring these two edges together, and we're going to slip stitch. Pull that out a bit. We're going to slip stitch right into the chain that the tail is coming from. Get you out of there. Slip stitch right in there, just like that. Okay, so this is going to be round 5 of our bonnet, and we're starting this back part, the scrunched up part. So what we're going to do is chain 1, and we're going to half double crochet right back in to the remaining loops of the beginning chain that we just attached into. Half double crochet into that. And then we're going to half double crochet into the next 2. So what we do to make this super simple, if you look, you can see the legs of stitches, right? All you need to do to work into those remaining loops is just set your hook right on the legs of the stitches. So like if I turn it over, you can see right there That's the leg of the two legs of a stitch into that chain. Same thing right here. And here, and here. One's just a little bigger than the other. If you pull it out, you can see it better like that. All you need to do is just set your hook right on those legs and push, and it instantly picks up the 2 remaining loops of the beginning chain that we worked into. Let me do that again and show you guys. Alright, let me get it all messed up so you can't tell anymore. So what I'm going to do is I need to work a half double. So I'm going to yarn over, look for my 2 legs, which I can see are right there. Set my hook on them and just push it through, and it pops right through, right under both the loops I want to work around. So I'm going to go ahead and work half double, and now I want to work a half double into the next. So I yarn over, look for those legs. One is a little bit bigger than the other, or if you have problems, just push it out a little. See the 2 legs right here? Just set my hook on them and push it right through. Now you can really see if I turn it over, you can really see the legs right there. Alright, so now what we're going to do is work 2 half double crochet into each of the remaining loops. We're going to come all the way around until the last 3. So if you want to, you can go ahead and find the last 3 and mark off, the 3rd. I'm going to work a few of these with you. So I'm going to pull it apart and find those legs, set my hook right on them, and just push it through. We're working 2 half double into each of the remaining loops. Find that next one. Just push it on through. Just like that. Find that next one. Now this one has 2 stitches in it, so we just go to the next one. And I'm going to give you a stitch count at the end of this row, so you guys can know if you need to the next round decrease to get back on track or not, and I will show you how to do that. So go ahead and work the 2 half double into each of the chains. Now remember, that one that's got the 2 double, chain 1, or I'm sorry, the double, chain 2, double. The double, chain 1, double, and just work that or 2 half double into there, okay? So work that all the way around, and I will be right back when we get to the last 3. Okay, so I'm coming around to the end of the row, and I know I said that, if you're off on your stitch count, we're going to fix it in the next round, but as I was working this, I thought, well, why would we do that? We could just do it here. Alright, so what we're working, this is round 5, right? And we're working 2 half double crochet until the last 3 stitches. At the end of this round, we need 48 half double crochets. So keeping track with yourself, go ahead and just stop and count and see what you have. And then I'm going to go ahead and continue with the 2 half double into each of the remaining loops until my last 3. And if you're coming up to where you're going to have too many, then don't work 2 half double all the way until the last 3. Just work 1 half double. Let me double check that. 1, 2, 3. Just work an extra 1 half double instead of 2 until you have the 48 that you're going to need. And if you have too few, then go ahead and work a few extra into each remaining loop. Just as long as the end of this round you have 48 half double crochets. So now I'm going to go ahead and just work a half double into my last 3, which I can see right there is 1. Right there is 1. And right there is my last. Okay, so 48 half double crochet, that's how many you need at the end of this round. So adjust accordingly, okay? So you may need to add a few more, you may need to take away a few more, just as long as you have 48. Okay, so for now on, we will not be slip stitching to join our rounds. We are just going to mark the first round of each stitch with a stitch marker. Mark the first stitch of each round with a stitch marker. All right, so once you get your 48 half double crochets, we're going to go ahead and go on to round 6. And round 6, we're going to half double crochet right into that very first half double. So if you look, there's the slip stitch. Right here is the chain 1, and then right there is the top of the first half double. So I'm going to yarn over and go right in there with a half double. Just like that. So there it is. It's going to leave a little bit of a hole right there. That's perfectly fine. We are going to mark that first stitch. Okay, so we're going to skip the next, half double into the next. Skip the next, half double into the next. Okay, so now we are going to skip the next and work a double crochet into the next 2 half double. So skip, double, double. Skip the next, double, and double. And now we're going to work 2 double crochet into the next. All right, so I want to stop here for a second because I don't want you guys to do the same thing I did. So like I said in the intro, the way I came up with this pattern was I bought these 2 right here, which of course is covered in my hair. And I sat down and I picked through all of these stitches and I said, okay, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase. That's how I got this pattern, right? Well, when I was working on the back, you can see, you know, there's that's a half double and a skip, half double, skip, half double, skip, double. Now, what she's doing there is decreasing here, but not up here. So I thought, well, if, you know, why skip? Just work the decrease, or, you know, like a half double crochet decrease. That does not work. In my designing these and spending hours picking through these stitches, I tried that. I tried working the decrease instead of skipping the stitches, and it actually does not work. It doesn't come out right. It looks funny. So I know skipping the stitches is going to be a bit, well, it may not be a bit of a pain, but I know it kind of doesn't make sense, but it actually does work, trust me. I made this entire bonnet with decreases instead of skipping, and it does not work. It does not come out right at all. So you do have to skip. So what we should have is half double, skip, half double, skip, half double, skip, okay? So 3 half doubles with a skip in between. All right, so now what we are going to do is work a double into the next 2. Two doubles into the next. And we are going to repeat that, double into the next 2, 2 doubles into the next, double into the next 2, 2 doubles into the next. Repeat that all the way around until the last 6 half doubles. So we have our first one marked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to work that all the way around until the last 6 half double, okay? Double into the next 2, 2 doubles into the next, double into the next 2, 2 double into the next. Repeat that around until the last 6 half double, and I will meet you guys there. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have repeated that around to my last 6 half double, and I ended with that 2 double into the next, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 half doubles left. So to end this row, we're going to skip the next, half double into the next, skip the next, half double into the next, skip the next, half double into that last. Just like that. And you should have 52 stitches all the way around. Okay? So that is the end of row 6. Let me mark everything off and turn my page. So row 7. We are going to single crochet into the very first stitch, so the half double that we have marked, we're going to single crochet into there. I'm going to go ahead and stop and mark that. Alright, we're going to skip the next, half double into the next. Skip, half double. I feel like I missed that, yeah. Okay, there. Now we're going to skip the next and double into the next. Just like that. So it's going to lay to the side quite a bit. Alright, so now we are going to double crochet into each of these doubles all the way around until the last 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to leave. I'll meet you back when we have 4 stitches at the end of this round, okay? I'm just going to work 1 double all the way around until the last 4, okay? So I will be right back. And I know these, these cuts are probably a pain, but if I don't do this, these videos are going to be 2.5 hours long, and I don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, and I will be right back. Okay, so I've repeated that around to my last 4. Of course, if I make some weird noise as soon as I start filming. To the last 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what we're going to do to finish round 7, we're going to skip the next, half double crochet into the next. Skip the next, and into the last, we're going to work 2 single crochet. Which I know is weird, but it's what she did on her bonnet, and it actually kind of makes sense at the end. Okay, but anyway, you should have 51 double crochet. If you don't, just work a decrease. And, you know, to be 100% honest, it's not the biggest deal if you don't. It just makes it look nicer if you do. Anyway, it's not the end of the world if you're a stitch short or 2. Okay, so let's go on to round 8. We are going to single crochet into the very first stitch, which is the one we have marked. Go right in there with a single. And mark that. Okay, we're going to skip the next stitch and half double crochet into the next. Now we're going to skip the next and double crochet into the next 2 doubles. So skip, double, double. My yarn was a little frayed right here. I should have cut it and fixed it, but I can hide it. Okay, so we are going to repeat the skip, double, double all the way around until the last four stitches, okay? So skip, double into the next, double into the next, skip, double, double, skip, double, double. Repeat that around until the last 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, okay? Alrighty, we're getting close to the end, guys. We're almost there. So repeat that around and I will be right back. Okay, so I have my work in my lap right here. Sorry. Alright, so I've repeated that around and I've ended with... Uh-oh, did I not skip? Wait a minute. Yeah, I did. Wait, did I? No, I did not. Hold on just a second. Skip, double, double, skip, double, double. Okay, sorry about that. So I've repeated that around to the last 4, and I'm only getting 1 double right here, which is not what I have written down, but it's going to be fine. I think whenever I wrote down this pattern as I was working, I was probably off a stitch and didn't pay attention to it, but that's all right, because what we're doing now is just closing the back. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches left. We are going to skip the next, half double crochet into the next. Just going to be a little tight. Then we're going to skip and single crochet into the last. Just like that. Alright, and you should have, I'm going to have to count to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Yeah, my stitch count was off right there. 33 stitches. Okay, like I said, it's perfectly fine because all we're doing is just closing up this back right here. As long as, the main thing is as long, this first part being nice and straight like this, which to this point yours should be. So right now it's fine if you're off a stitch, okay? I apologize about that. This, I'm not gonna lie, this was not the easiest thing for me to do. This was very hard to pick apart all these stitches and write this down and try to make sure it came out perfect. I thought it did. Anyway, alright, so to move on to round 9, second to last round of our bonnet, we are going to single crochet right back into the very first stitch, the one that we had marked. Go ahead and mark your first. And now we're going to skip the next and half double into the next. So skip, half double. Skip the next, double into the next. Skip, double. That scared me. And that's what you're going to repeat until the last 5 stitches. Skip, double, skip, double. Okay? Repeat that until the last 5 stitches. Skip, double. Skip, double. And I will meet you at the last 5, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, so I repeated that. Oops, didn't mean to bump my camera. I repeated that around, and since my stitch count was off on that last row by 1, I should have said, or should have known to say that instead of the last 5, it's going to be the last 6 stitches, okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to double crochet. Well, let me show you. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and double crochet into the next stitch. So I'm going to have 2 doubles together right there. And then we're going to skip half double, skip single, get out of there, and single into that next single crochet, the very last one. Okay, so now let me turn my page. Oh, give me the stitch count first. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 stitches. At the end of round 19, 18 stitches. And to finish our hat, or our bonnet, go ahead and take out my stitch marker. We are going to work round 10, and we're going to repeat round 10 until we can't work anymore. So what we're going to do is skip single into the next, skip single into the next, and you don't need to keep track of your stitch count or your first stitch of your round. Right here is what we're going to just repeat until we can't. Skip single into the next, skip single, skip single, skip single, skip single, skip the next, single into the next, skip the next, single into the next, skip, single. I'm going to try to work 1 or 2 more, skip, single. I think I can get 1 more. Skip the next, single into the next, and then I'm going to go ahead and skip the next and just slip stitch into that next single, chain 1, pull up a loop, and we are done with the bonnet. Go ahead and cut this, pull that out, pull that tight, and then I'm going to shape this, give it, oop, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, give it a stretch, get all these stitches loose, not loose, but laying the way I want it to, and then weave in my ends. The, I don't know if I'd say the #1 thing that I've learned. I'm just going to say one very important thing that I learned making these, the Sunbonnet Sue and the overall Sam. Weave in your ends as you go. Unless I say otherwise, weave them in. So all I'm going to do is just take this tail right through the center of the back of our bonnet. And then I'm going to turn it inside out. And then just weave this through a few of these stitches. Not doing anything fancy with it. Just right through there. pop that back out, and then this very first tail, go ahead and just weave that in. And bring it to the inside and just run it through a few stitches right there. Just like that. And then cut. All right. So now we can lay this out. Like I said, I'm going to give it a, I don't want to say that I'm pulling it to loosen it up. I'm just getting it to lay the way I want it to lay. And to do that, I'm just pulling on the stitches a bit. So I want that to go in a little bit more. There we go. That looks nice. So you see this flat bottom right here? That's what we want to work the dress. So that is the most important part right here. And the rest of it just kind of lays, you know, the way I want it to after I give it a, you know, a pull and tug. Just like that. So we're going to work one more piece for this video, and what we're going to do is just attach the little hanger at the top. So if you don't want the hanger, no big deal. You don't have to have it, but all I'm doing right now is just getting a slip stitch on my hook and making sure I got plenty of tail so I can weave that in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the top, and I want to see my chain 1 spaces from that brim. I'm going to go right to where we, you know, where the brim starts. Right here is where the brim starts, and this is where the head part of the bonnet is. And I'm going to attach I'm going to put my hook right between the first stitches of the bonnet and the first stitches of the brim. I'm going to go right in there and then just hook it through the chain 1 of that brim. Just like that. Pull it through and work a slip stitch. And now we're going to chain 15. I'm going to do this off camera. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay? So I worked my 15, and I'm going to come back down and go right around the same bar that we slip stitched around. Right in there. Chain 1, pull up a loop and cut. And there is that. So now I'm going to weave in my ends from the little hook right here. I'm just going to weave them on the inside. Okay? So there is our hanger. Okay, so while I weave in these ends, I'm going to go ahead and do my little exit portion for part 1. And I know some of you are probably going to get annoyed that there's different parts for this, but if I don't do this, these videos are going to be way too long. But you're going to get all of the videos today. See, so I just pulled those tails to the inside. I'm just going to weave them in through the brim stitches. Okay, so in the description box, there is links for part 2 of Sunbonnet Sue, which is going to be her dress, her arm. Oh, let me do this. It'll be for her dress, her arm, her leg, and her shoe, and finishing it up. And then also, there's going to be linked to part 1 and part 2 of Overall Sam in the description box. where am I sitting there? And also there's links for my Facebook group, my Instagram, my, I guess, no longer Twitter. And then there's also a link to my other channel that I would really appreciate if you guys would just check out. It's a gaming channel that I wanted to do. I kind of, you know, it's my homage to one of my favorite YouTubers, which is Fiber Spider, where he does his gaming channel. And my thought process was that, you know, you guys could watch/listen to me play a video game, which I have 2 types on my channel going at once, a cutesy fun one, and then a more on the edge violent one, which they're both fun. They're both, I thought it'd be nice, you know, to have a little break from just watching only crochet stuff. You guys could check that channel out while you crochet. And I apparently already weaved that in. I talk so quick. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. There is my bonnet done. Check, or go to the description box and click that link for part 2, and we will finish Sunbonnet Sue. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.